Hello, everybody. I'm Daniel. Today's topic will be one of the ways I've been classifying things to try to make things make more sense, and that is what you are versus who you are. And I've been asking people, asked a number of people, as it is, to define that for me. How they see it, how they break it down. And it wasn't surprising to me that of all the people I asked, nobody really seemed to have considered the question before. We're at a time in history where there's so many questions, and the very foundations of which we understood things are just being actively attacked by people. So, if we're ever going to find common ground, we need to start building that ground in understanding. And understanding isn't just agreement, understanding is compromise and finding acceptable terms. So, simply put, uh, as an exercise, if you want, pause the video and define it yourself. Write it down. How would you define those two terms to describe yourself? And then turn the video back on and see if we're on the same page. If not, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to tell you have to see it this way. But I think starting to work with the way we see things would help us to find common ground and help to stop a lot of the arguing. So first, what we are. What we are the things we don't really have control over. I was born a male. I'm primarily Caucasian. I have a widow's peak hairline. These are things I don't really have much control over. Who we are the things we do have control over. I make a point to be honest. I've developed a lot of strength through training. I've developed my sense of humor to be funny. I'm intelligent through a lot of work and research. These are things I have actively chosen to reinforce in my life. So, why is this important? Why do I need to keep these things separate in my head? Well, they both come together to help in some ways mold who I am. The aspect that I'm male, my predominant hormone is testosterone. That affects the way my brain developed as I was growing up, and that affects the way that I perceive things as a consequence of brain development. It's not a choice I made, but it does affect the way I see things. Other things have less impact, such as the fact that I'm primarily Caucasian. The fact is, the color of your skin has no impact on what you choose. Some people may use it as an excuse. A lot of people do at this point. And I think that mentality is a lot of what's been holding us back. The premise of identity politics is emphasizing what somebody is while sidestepping who they are. A classic example of this is the Trayvon Martin case a number of years back, where there was a black guy, and to be blunt, he was a criminal. He was a bully. He's not a good person. An investigator saw him leaving a convenience store and followed him. And the basic end result is they got into a fight, and the investigator shot him in self-defense. The media cherry-picked the heck out of the information. The fact that he was black, they automatically decided that he had to be the victim. They showed images of him as a kid, not as an adult as he was. They specifically omitted his history, his behaviors, such as, being a violent criminal. And they completely condemned the investigator. They claimed the investigator was white when he was not, because that was their agenda, the black versus white argument. This was one of the earlier things that really pushed, all the race wars that we've been dealing with in the past decade or two, where they had to frame things to where the color of your skin dictated your guilt or innocence. That is the center of identity politics. What you are is the only thing that matters. In that case, it didn't matter that he was a criminal, that he attacked the guy, that he was threatening his life, and the investigator shot him in self-defense when the intent of the criminal was to kill him. All they cared about was the color of his skin. You still see a lot of this stuff going on. all that's doing is causing problems. The kind of person you are. Are you mean? Are you kind? Are you intelligent? Are you stupid? Are you honest? Are you dishonest? These are the things that affect a lot of that stuff. Now, granted, to an extent, intelligence is kind of a gray area because there are a number of things that we don't control that affect our intelligence. But you can make choices to change that. You can shape how you see the world. And intelligence is a tool in that regard. So I think it's something that, it's not something to judge somebody by, because somebody that's less intelligent is not less of a human. But at the same time, if you are highly intelligent, you should, consider that and to an extent be held accountable for that if you use that against other people. And again, that's something we're seeing in the media and several other things where you have a lot of people, think tanks and all this stuff, intentionally misleading and manipulating people to push agendas. And if we would start to differentiate more between what we are and who we are, hold people accountable for who they are. What they are is just what they are. I can't blink my eyes and be a different nationality. And even if I did, it wouldn't make a difference as to who I am. Because the color of my skin did not dictate the fact that I value intelligence and integrity. Now, sociologically speaking, an environment, a person's environment where they grew up and everything, that has a big impact on that. And to that degree, nationality and, race and stuff like that can impact that, namely because, like when you get into neighborhoods and groups and all that, people have a tendency to behave certain ways because they think it's expected of them because of the color of their skin. This is something we need to get away from. And only by de-emphasizing the importance of what we are and prioritizing who we are we ever going to have a chance of doing that? We have all these holidays and things like that celebrating, the color of people's skin. I don't care what color your skin is. I care about the kind of person you are. Martin Luther King was not a great man because of the color of his skin. It was because of his actions and his choices. And yet they celebrate it because of the color of his skin. The framing takes away from what he did. Anyway, just something to think about. A lot of the stuff that I'm trying to work on is ways that we can find common ground on stuff. Because there's so many ways we're arguing, but we're not dealing with it in any way that has a chance of resolving the issue. And actually, I just thought of it. Another thing to consider when it comes to who we are versus what we are is look at the current topic of transgenderism. What we are, in that regard, would be like male or female. It's pretty straightforward, people. Who we are could be on a scale of masculine to feminine. The masculine to feminine aspect represents our personality and our sociological place within, society. So you could have somebody that is physically a male, but socially they're very feminine, indicative of like a female mentality. That doesn't change their anatomy or their physical composition, but it does change the behavioral and social role at which they're comfortable. I think that fits the concept of transgenderism a lot better than saying somebody is a female in a male's body, because that makes no sense. You have all the experts now that can't even tell you what a woman is because the definitions have become so muddied by indecision and a lack of understanding of the situation. So we need to find common terms so we can start building. And when you try to say, with the way they're going, where you can't even tell a person what a man is or what a woman is or any of that, that is a slippery slope that is just waiting to avalanche. And I'll give you some examples. If you cannot even tell me what a woman is, how can you protect her rights? And it's only a matter of time before, people are going to, quote unquote, identify as black when they're not, anything like that, any type of identity. And that is a slippery slope of abstracting identity. So, what would stop me from, applying for a college grant for African Americans when, I'm not black? Of course not. Look at me. But could I say that I identified as it? And under the current landscape, could you fairly tell me I'm not? These are the kind of arguments that are going on right now. And I think if we found better ways of representing and defining things, it would help to alleviate a lot of these. Now, when it comes to transgenderism, you have your sex, which is masculine, or I'm sorry, is male or female, and then you have your gender, which is a scale of masculine to feminine. And if you want, you could put numbers on it, like a scale of 1 to 10 masculine, scale of 1 to 10 feminine, like a 20 bar range or whatever. If you feel the need to do that, fine, I don't care. If that makes you feel better, good for you. But when you sit there and you tell me that you're obviously physically a man, but you're a woman, then you turn around, you can't even tell me what a woman is. You just say you are one. Do you see how that is leading to frustration and miscommunication? That's leading to a complete breakdown of communication because you can't even express yourself, but you want me to tell you that you're right. That creates an impasse. But you could be a male, a feminine male. And if, like I said, if you want to do a scale, make yourself feel better about it, you could be a male, class 5, feminine, whatever. Which, like right in the center between male and female would be like the standard for androgynous, where you're not really masculine or feminine. If you're kind of like more of a tomboyish, you're still feminine, but you still have some more masculine traits, then you could be like in the 3 range. I don't care. However you want to define it, that's something to discuss. But getting the foundation down, I think, is important so we can start finding common ground to build a future together instead of trying to destroy each other's foundation. And that's exactly what's going on. There is no future in that. There is only calamity. Anyway, just some more food for thought. Y'all have a good one.